Hey there, I'm CJ Miller. I'm in Shreveport, Louisiana. Across the Red River is beautiful Bossier City, Louisiana. And, you know, I'm just out doing what I love to do, which is take a late night health walk. I haven't really done this. Have I? I don't know. I think maybe I did this once. I don't know, but I'm getting back into the habit of it. Uh, by now, I'm used to being home. Uh, I'm kind of over the fact that I was floating around between Florida and the Bahamas for 3 weeks. And literally, it was this month that I just came home. So I really haven't been home, all that long, But when I came home broke. So it was all about, uh, you know, bobbing through and playing a waiting game until, the 1st of April. Yeah, that's, you know, uh, I won't be broke after that. So anyway, but also needed to recalibrate, um, unpack, get situated, say hello to some people that I hadn't seen since before I left, and I'm back into a normal routine again, and that means regularly going to a gym. Means meeting attendance, a 12-step recovery meeting attendance. It means health walks. And health walks that, for me, just walking around helps me get spiritually okay. I find it calming. I find it relaxing to walk around, go look at the river, never know what kind of weird reflection I might get, when I do this. And went to Sports Tram, but it's not in service, but it's going to the, so weird. So our bus schedules, that's something that I'm having to recalibrate, because our local buses, right before I left, they reassigned some of the routes, and so I'm having to relearn some of the buses that I take. Some of the routes, some of the destinations that I go, the buses that I would normally take, they've changed. The routes have changed, and so I'm gonna have to go through learning that. But a hassle, but supposedly it's supposed to be more efficient for them and for the people who take it and all that. So I don't know. We'll see. Mostly the what I find difficult about the bus, and it's not on the Shreveport side, it's when we cross over to Bossier City. There are approximately 2 buses in the daytime that will go and make stops in a couple of places in Bossier City, and then at night coming back. I think there are 2 bus routes that will make a couple of stops, but it's not really convenient, and it's more of a courtesy. Some time ago, the Bossier City Council decided to cut back its part of the funding of the Sports Tram, which is the company that does it. And so since then, bus traffic over to Bossier City has just been not, available, So, don't know why. Anyway, yeah, can't really blame the Sports Tram for cutting back the bus service if it's not receiving share from that part of the city or something like that. So, but it did cut back on, like if I can't just like cross the bridge over into Bossier and get to anything, you know, there's not really a reason for me to do that, you know, like, you know, to go there or whatever. So we'll see. But you know, I guess we'll reflect on what in some circles we think of as you know, community, and I'm a little scruffy. I went to the gym or whatever, so yeah, you know, just putting, you know, who was it? JFK, John F. Kennedy, ask not what my country can do for me, but ask what I could do for my country. And I guess that can apply to all sorts of civic living, you know. And sometimes giving up a bit of a convenience for the service of many, you know what I mean? So I don't mind the inconvenience of buses changing and everything. I will say they're still running. Let's see what this one. Route Green, welcome, aka Route, I don't know. That's a city bus they're running. So, and that's about the third one that I've seen run on. One was possibly not on a route and was swapping out or whatever. It's the main thing about nighttime buses. They run something that is a schedule that is very sparse compared to daytime service. But if you know the schedule, when and where to go and everything like that, it can be made convenient. So it's just a matter of me learning what's going on. Okay, so let me just go ahead and cross the street. There's some sort of event that was going on there and the tent's still up or whatever, and I didn't want to have to walk under it or something like that, so across the street. Plus I'm going to the river anyway. Let's check out what's in the window at On Time Fashion. You know, I've got a jacket from here. Oh my God. There's a part of me that loves tacky enough to be in this suit almost, if I could get it, but that one's a bit more garish. Which one would I prefer? I like the pattern of that one, but I like the muted, if this is muted. I love that this is more toned down, although the pattern's too bold. I don't know. I wouldn't show out for either one of them. However, they are hitting on point with this. This is me. This is this is how I fucking dress when I put myself together to go out. Now, this is not how I'm looking tonight. Tonight, I'm still in my gym clothes, so shorts and shirt and everything. But yeah, beret. Okay. I know it's going to be way crazy expensive, but I'm also going to come check it out because this is the look that I could play around with. What's up with that beret though? Probably not. I don't know. I already have a couple of berets. Yeah, this. I like this. I can't believe it. There's normally some things in a window that I would see that I would like, but there's not too much that just grabs me that makes me think, yay. These, yeah. Now these shoes are way out of my league. I for sure need that scarf and possibly that shirt. Okay. Why did I do this to myself? Okay. Yeah. Gotta make it happen. It's probably way too expensive, but I'll figure it out. I'm so glad that thing is past me, behind me, or whatever. Yeah, so my hair is like I've just come from the gym. I basically went home, took off the bandana, put on a hat, pushed my hair behind my ears. It's frizzy as fuck, and I'm just walking around. But, yay. I really do kind of want that outfit, though. Okay, so, I have plenty of black pants, and I'd had to check out those pants before I decided, you know, the fit would have to be like stupendous before I would invest in black pants, because I've already got black pants and black slacks and things like that. But I really like that shirt. So what I'm gonna have to look into the label. I'm gonna have to price it. I'm gonna have to make sure that it's really, really worth it. I need to check out the quality of that scarf, you know, but you know, but that's definitely me. And it's a collar, like a tight collar, but it's not a turtleneck. So it's all about finding the right fit, and yay. And what I like about that fit is that it looks slimming, and I'm the kind of person, I need slimming. You know, this is a oversized shirt. It's not too slimming. The pattern's not meant to be slimming, and it makes me look much bigger than I am. Especially you do a camera like this, and it's like whenever you tilt it down, it's like everything is like angled down. So it's like you start from little tiny little feet, and then by the time you get up to the midsection of your belly, you just really look way bigger than what you really are. So you know, this whole thing about your face and taking angles from up here, it really only works for face. It has the opposite effect when you're working towards your body. So, you know, and then yay, there's a band playing. See, there's another bus. So there are buses 103 to Linwood to Berkhouse, and that's the nighttime route that I would take at night to come over here. But there's also an MLK bus that I can take that would take me right next to my apartment. Nice band going on inside of there. One of the things that I place, and I love the venue, and I love any venue that has music. What I've noticed though is that I was there with Mike about a month or so ago, whatever. It was that time that I wrote on the wall, "Hey, love the fish and chips. Queso could use a little work, but it's our, you write on the brick wall." So it was that time we were there. And what we noticed was, in spite of how interesting the act may be, the band or whatever, the the acoustic is not always great in that particular venue, because sometimes the drum is more powerful than anything else. You can't hear the singer, you can't hear the guitars, you can't hear any of the other instruments if the drum is too loud. So, a lot of people, when they're playing a drum on a smaller stage, they'll play it from behind a barrier, a glass or fiberglass or something like that, that kind of like kind of softens the drum sound a little bit, kind of holds it back from being overpowering over the rest of the band. But yeah, it's it's somewhat problematic. It's not like a large venue, so it's not like you can go to it's not like the rock and roll music is really loud and big and out there. It's very loud, and in order to do it right, it has to be loud. But loud does not work in a very small venue like that, so you're better doing small ensemble jazz, a little bit of blues, that type of stuff. So it's like you want to know the music style that works for your venue. And if you go there and you try to play something that should be arena rock, it's not going to sound good in a small venue. It's not like taking a studio recording and piping it through a karaoke machine and singing through it, and you can work out some sort of balance like that. If you're a band, you've got to have good sound, and it's got to work with the venue that you're in. So sound tests and everything. And some of the acts that play there, they don't really go there and do that, And it's like, it's kind of like if you sing in your shower and you sound great singing in your shower, that's great for that acoustic setting. It does not mean that you're going to be able to come out into the world and be like a great singer. So there's a lot of technical stuff, and a big part of performance has to do with sound. It's like when I did theater, whatever. At the time, yes, we have some characters downtown. I don't mind. I was, talking to my friend Mike, and it's like we people watch and we talk, talk a little smack between us, about the people that we see. And it's like, I don't mind that, because you know what? I'm goofy. I'm a goofy person. And when I'm out in public, just walking around, and I don't dress up to go walking around my own neighborhood, for my little neighborhood walk like this. I know it's downtown, there are clubs and special venues and everything. And when I'm going to one of those, then I will class it up a little bit. But if I'm just taking a walk in my neighborhood, I'm not gonna put on the nines just to take a walk down to the river. And so I serve goofiness, just wherever I go, I'm goofy, and I don't mind that, so I know that people will people watch, and if they spot me, they'll have some funny little weird thought, or no thought at all, whatever, I don't know, but I don't mind that. So it's just natural, but definitely try not to be mean-spirited. But I don't know. I think like everybody, I do have a mean streak. I don't know from when or where it came from. It's just always been there. It's always been a part of me, and I've really tried to work through a lot of consideration to be less mean, as a person. But I know that when I was a little kid, I was treated meanly, and I treated others meanly, and it was just, I don't know, it was the 1980s, and it was just 1970s really when all this started. So yeah, Now I'm taking a walk. And I'm seeing this. And thinking to myself, how could they possibly think this is going to apply to me when I can just walk around it? Was there some sort of event under here? Yes. I bet this is the barbecue thing. They do this once a year. I don't know. Yeah. Why is it on a Thursday though? I do not know. So, I have no idea what's going on down here at all. See, now I know. Now I know why all these buses are down here. And now I remember what that was. It is very much a private event. There is a national sorority, and they're having a reunion, and that's what that was. So no public event. And no, I should not have walked around that barrier and just crashed it. I look like shit, dude. I'm so sorry. But once I realized what was going on, I was through it. I kept seeing the t-shirts with the with their Kappa something something on it or something like that. There usually is something going on in Shreveport. What's going on right now is there's a downtown incentive that if you are part of an event that comes to the convention center, and then you show your badge for your event at the convention center, you come downtown, any sort of a downtown event or something like that, and you're going to show your badge to any downtown business while the event's going on, that you can get specialty discounts from many of the vendors and businesses in downtown, because there really are a lot of businesses. It's not just casinos. There's a lot of business down there. Now that was a catered event. I should have went through and got food. Who are you here with? Like, oh, I'm here with the band. I don't know, whatever. But no, I'm not. I did not mean to crash their party. And I got out of there as soon as I possibly could. I really thought it was something like, they do that whenever they do barbecue wars too, where they have like a barbecue. I don't know if they call it barbecue wars, but the different trucks will come there and they'll have like a barbecue competition, and they do all that under that bridge there, just about every year. And that's what I thought when I first saw the barrier. I thought they might have been doing something like that. So there's different. This is a big deal. Then they are really doing this. Whoever this sorority is, hey, thank you for coming here to Shreveport, and maybe it's a sorority, fraternity, whatever, I don't know, but thank you for coming here, because out of all the places that you could have went, we appreciate it, and it must be a big deal. And I'm assuming it's going to be going on all weekend, so this might be I'm going to have to take special consideration if I decide to come out walking this weekend at night, that I'm walking in other areas. But no, that was just wow, you know. I do remember they just started this this initiative downtown, that if you take your event badge to the downtown business, that they will honor you with special discounts and everything. And this was the event to kick off that initiative, and we certainly hope that it works, and that people will, as they're here for this event, that they will patronize some downtown businesses. I don't know why I'm speaking of it as if I own a downtown business. I don't, but I do believe that more business to the neighborhood is wonderful. Now there is, in a certain area that I walked going down that Texas Street over, there's a certain zone where there's a 2-cent tax on the dollar or something like that, a 2%, that goes into maintaining the entertainment and business and art district that is there. And I do support that. If I start seeing some improvement, if I start seeing that things are being maintained and that people are benefiting, and that they aren't staying away, and so I don't mind a 1 or 2 cent tax if if the reason for it is good, and if the money goes where it's supposed to go, if the tax is for if it's for a good reason and it's going to help fund what it is that it's funding for, and if there are endeavors in place to watch and maintain that does happen, because this is Louisiana. And I don't know if you guys know this about Louisiana, but when I was growing up, it was almost a source of pride how crooked our politics were. We had a governor, Governor Edwin Edwards, served 2 terms as governor. There was some sort of they didn't really like. There was some sort of money confusion. There was something, and he had to answer in court. And I don't know exactly what it was. I forget the particulars of that particular incident, but I do know he came back and ran for governor and served a 3rd term as governor after he had had some controversy. And I'm thinking it had something to do with gaming and casinos and stuff like that. Something happened with him. But after that 3rd term, he did get in some serious trouble. And it became quite public, that there was some sort of payoff or trading of information you know what I mean? It was a not everything was on the up and up. I don't know the particulars of it, but I do know that there was criminal, verdicts that fell behind that 3rd term of Governor Edwin Edwards. For all that, people still think of him as a good governor, that he governed very well, but he did some shady business and he had to answer for it. I don't know all of it. I don't think he's with us anymore. I think he's passed on, and I really don't want to besmirch his reputation. This is a big example of Louisiana politics being very crooked. Huey P. Long, before my time, was a politician. This Long and Allen Bridge is the original name of this bridge. Then it became the Texas Street Bridge. Then now it's the Bukowski Bridge of Lights. So it's got 3 different names. Not to mention that it's just Texas Street. And it's actually part of a historical route that, if followed as laid out, becomes is it I-30? Highway 30 or Highway? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that it goes all the way through. It's a corridor to Texas. I do know that. And it was before the interstate, before I-20, and if you follow it as the original route laid out, it would take you right to the door of the Alamo, which I did go see the Alamo once. I remember seeing it once, and what I remember about it was that it had become so commercialized, it had almost lost all of its meaning and reverence, and historically they're treating it as if it means nothing, because now it's just a place you go and you buy souvenirs. I went to the Alamo, yay, and you walk through and you tour. I've actually been there twice, I come to think of it. I remember now, I have been there twice. Once was a hair convention back when I was doing hair and I was still training. I went to San Antonio and we did hair. I don't know why I thought that was a Dallas trip, but it was San Antonio because we did go to the Alamo. And then I went, and that was like, and it was like, wow. The reason why I thought it was a Dallas trip is because shortly before then, I did go to Dallas to a Mary Kay convention. Fuck you, motherfuckers. Don't laugh at me. Look, I sold Mary Kay, but not very much of it. I bought a few $1,000s worth of this stuff, actually. And do not have the lion's heart of a salesman. I really don't. And Mary Kay is not an expensive. It was not an expensive product, but it was not a cheap product. And I didn't have it in me to go out and do high pressured sales. And that's what the representative that we had to do. And it was so weird because we don't go do door knocking. It's a peer-to-peer connection. And at that time, I really just didn't know a lot of people. I hadn't been back in, well, I guess maybe for a few months back in Shreveport, but I was getting myself established. I was less than a year. I know that I came back shortly after my 21st birthday and was selling Mary Kay before my 22nd birthday. And it was, so my birthday is in April, so it would have been after April that I came home. But right after the holidays, right after Christmas, right before or right after Christmas or something like that. I just, right away. Actually, I started selling Mary Kay within a few months after that, because after that Christmas. So so it's weird for me to piece it together. It's probably why I could never really write a story that was a chronological happening of my life, because in my mind, it's like to trace it back, so much of the things that happened that to me, or the things that I did or whatever that I would find remotely interesting, so much of it happened within a short span, a short period of my life. And then it was a lot of not much, followed by, another period of significance or something like that. But largely it was a lot of not much happening in between. So it's not like there's anything interesting that I'd be able to write about myself, unless, of course, I got rich and hit a lottery or something. Then I could be like, hey, it could happen to you because it happened to me, and But anyway, boy, did I didn't just go for a walk. I went off on a tandem. What my fourth grade teacher, Miss Escaday, would talk about bird walking. We should call it that. Okay. I didn't. I went to see the Alamo. How did I start talking about the Alamo? I don't know. Oh, yeah. I was looking at the bridge. That bridge will take you to the Alamo. Before then, I don't know. I think I was just talking about people coming to Shreveport for their reunion or something like that. We're happy. Cool. Care of a community has to start within the community, and I think I was talking about like 1 or 2 taxes or something like that. That's what it is. I talked about the reunion, and then if it's great, and then if they show their badges, they'll get initiatives, and I hope that works. I hope there's something that sticks. I hope that when I go to GeekCon, when I go to the next GeekCon, if I show my badge, I'll still get a discount, if I go around for, but yeah, event kind of thing. It's cool. I hope that's something that it's not just a one and done. I hope it's something that proves beneficial. If so, they will continue to do it. And I think what I was talking about when I started talking about the taxes in the business district, I think I was going to talk about, it's probably enough of a juxtaposition to, if it's a special event, it'll, knock out some of the taxes. I don't know how much of a discount that they give or whatever, and it may just be, here's a special, like a special item. Maybe it's not the full menu that's discounted. Maybe it's a certain special something. I don't know. But I do know that what else is cool is that whenever we have art walks which I've noticed that we've had significantly fewer art walks. We used to have them every month, and then, there's the flexibility. I guess you do them when you do them, and then things go for a while, and people, when interest fades, then there's less of it. But we've had fewer art walks. But there's always still something going on. What I would like to see happen, I would like to see activity like what's happening underneath that bridge. I would like to see that type of stuff happening more frequently and more for the public. The last time I saw something like that, the entirety of downtown was taken over by something called the Humor and Harmony Festival. It was the first thing that 50 Cent did. And it was initially going to be done at the fairgrounds. I don't know I think what it is like they wanted to diversify. And so they decided to move some of the event to the Municipal Auditorium, which is a very historic location for the music portion. And then they put up the temporary dome, which was cool. And I think at the time I was just I didn't have a lot of money going on, extra money at the time, so I really didn't do any of the paid events. But I did go walking around, and Mike and I did go check out downtown that night, and a lot of fun things, a lot of cool things happening. And you can go back a couple of years on my YouTube, and you can see some of those videos, Humor and Harmony, on my YouTube channel. And no doubt if you put in YouTube Humor and Harmony Shreveport, Louisiana, 2024, whatever it was, if you go back and you put those things in YouTube, you're going to come up with other people's videos and stuff like that, and you'll be able to see some of those venues. But it was really great. We had like a lot of genre type celebrities, people that I don't even know, but they were big in the R&B and rap communities and everything. And of course, a lot of comedians, Humor and Harmony. It was comedy and music together. And Matt Rife, a lot of people know him and everything. He's Matt Rife. I don't know. I think I watched a few of his specials, and I got a sense of, and I laughed, and I got a sense of his comedy and everything like that. And then, I got over it, So I think his comedy shows, there's something to experience, and there's something to laugh at, and take with the grain of salt for the humor that it is, But I think one of the things that we need to stop doing as people is we need to stop looking at, who was it that said this? Somebody. It was when we were doing the George Carlin. I was watching the documentary about George Carlin on Max, and there was a big thing about how people just kind of started looking at him as if he had like some sort of insight, some philosophical advice or whatever. And it's like, no, at the end of the day, he was a comedian, and he was just a comedic person making jokes, and but I guess because he got older and he was making comedy specials, and he was the kind of person that would just come out and he changed his persona like sometime in the 60s or going into the 70s. He started out being kind of like a kind of squeaky clean television personality, and then he changed gears and he became almost a mouth or a spokesperson for the counterculture or something. That's what he wanted to do. He wanted to be that, which counterculture is not counterculture, by the way. It's really not. It's youth. It's not counterculture. Every generation has some form of this, but in the 60s it was, beatniks and hippies growing up, and then they all, got married and got jobs and settled down and, or grew up and realized that you can be anti-war and you don't want war, but at the same time, sometimes other people will not let you be peaceful, and you have to sometimes go to war. It's like the idealists grow up and they take like a more realistic view of things. And yes, you can have these high ideas, and there's something to strive for. And yes, there are times when they can be obtainable and even obtained, And then there are some times when you realize that you don't live in a vacuum, and you have to interact with other situations that are less than your ideal, that don't live up to your ideal, and that other people have ideals that are contradictory or antipodean even to the way that you would see things, So then we're back to a less selfish view and a more wide view of cooperation. And then when cooperation fails, when is a principle worth going to war over? That kind of stuff, So it's we base this on the spiritual principle that we call selflessness. And sometimes it's really prudent to just, let the teenager steal the cookie and run it out of the store. Don't make a big deal out of it. Well, then sometimes it's a better idea to stop. That's a metaphor, by the way. But sometimes it's better to stop the teenager from stealing the cookie or something like that, and bust them, because maybe it's, hey, by the way, in some sense, in some instance, maybe that's not a big deal, and it would be like, whatever, lost leader or something like that. And then sometimes it could put a hurting on your budget, like if you have this kid walking in just taking a cookie frequently. At some point, you got to put your foot down and say, hey, you never pay for these cookies that you keep eating. Don't come back in here unless you want to buy a cookie, or whatever. When is it? That's just a petty example. Not to imply that just says whatever. What are some other examples? How can we say this? When is it time to fight? And when is it time to turn the other cheek? And both of those, Ecclesiastes versus basically the entire ministry of the gospel. Sometimes you look the other way. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you get pissed off and you turn tables, and you scream about exploitation, and irreverence to the things that matter. You can say that story about Christ turning over the tables and chasing the tax collectors with the whip or something like that. You could say it was about specifically disrespect of the house of God, the church and the temple and everything like that, where that's supposed to be a sacred space. But you could apply that towards any view or idea that is important. And so what do you do? When is it time to speak up and take a notion and everything like that? So I am generally a pacifist. I am don't, people that know my temper, don't you laugh at me. I generally don't like to cause an upset. And I'm so much more patient. Some of my earlier reactions that I used to get so angry if I felt like I was getting the shaft, maybe at the cash register or something like that. A lot of that had to do with uh, my mood disorder that I am now and have been for some years now treating. Uh, and so I can better process those things. But yay, man, I used to get like stupefied by the idiot notions of other people uh, that would think that I'm an idiot. How it's you who's an idiot to think that I'm an idiot. Just the assumption that I'm stupid. I'm kind of proud of my intellect, and I know when the price that you ring up is different than the price that's on the shelf, and drastically so, and there's some shady shit going on. Whatever. I used to get like, yeah. Well, so this happened. I don't know. I think I went the other day to try to make a purchase or something like that, and it was like, it rang up very different. And the reason I was making the purchase was, specifically for a lunch or something like that, and it wasn't going to work out. And so I was like, well, I guess I don't really need it, but I don't really need the other items that I was going to buy then either, because I'm just going to go out later. And if I'm not making this purchase, I may as well not purchase any of this stuff, because I'd had like some groceries. It wasn't out of like a spite or anything that I was like, just keep your groceries in. It was just more like, hey, if I'm not gonna buy the lunch stuff here, I'm not going to worry about buying the rest of it, because I'm just going to go get that stuff later. Then, if I'm not making a purchase, I'm not making a purchase. If I'm going to cancel some of it, may as well, but it wasn't like out of vindictiveness or something like that. Whereas in the past, the attitude would have been like, oh, if this isn't working out, fuck you, keep all your shit. It would have been a very different reaction. Same affect. I didn't make the purchase, but it would have been for a whole different reason, and with the worst attitude, and it wouldn't have mattered. So yeah. What am I reflecting on more than anything in this particular conversation? How the things that happen in the world and how we can affect them or not affect them, how they begin with the self, how I treat myself and how I treat those immediately around me. Those have the ripples that go out and communicate how I want the world to communicate with other people within it and everything like that. Every little action. We have the whole, what is it, the law about every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Well, yeah, but also no. See, every action has an equal and opposite reaction, but those actions and reactions have effect on everything that they're around. And collectively, the response to an action is much greater than the action itself. Okay? Potentially. Sometimes the reaction to an action is a chain of events. And if you look at it totally, then every action could have an opposite reaction that is much greater than the action. You never know, and that is in human mentality, what is irrational? Well, human emotion. We want to balance with rationality, but the way we feel is not based on fact. I facts will play a part in how we feel, but it's really how we interpret those facts and what we think that those facts mean. And it's like, yeah. I don't know how I started talking about this from talking about George Carlin, but yeah. But yeah, George Carlin in his comedy, he was all like, don't go look into comedians, to be your philosophers. They're telling jokes, and so there are people better equipped to advise on life's problems, like counselors and therapists and things like that. Which, by the way, there's no shame if you ever feel the need to reach out in those areas. We are so lucky that today we can live in an era of therapy where it's just out there. People just encourage everybody to go to therapy, to go to therapy. And when I was growing up, it was like, no, just shut up and get over it. Truly, you didn't really go to therapy unless you were really, really fucked up. Most of the time, you just walked it off, basically. Whatever badness was happening to you, suck up your feelings and do what you got to do anyway. And just everybody gets hurt feelings. So the fuck what? And so feelings didn't get addressed, and collectively, all that angst gets passed down generationally. And I think when I was talking about the counterculture, he wanted to go on and be the counterculture, George Carlin. I don't know what I'm talking about, because I think I just recently watched that thing, so it's in my mind, that documentary. So we have sociologically and psychologically and psychiatrically, for that matter, we, on average, consider a generation to be a span of about 20 years. On average, that's about when we start to, in our society, procreate and everything. Sometimes a little sooner, sometimes a little later, but on average, about every 20 years is a generation. And that's when you can count on the pushback, That's when you can count on, a new crop of kids coming into their own voice and being, critical of the good and the bad that their parents did for them. They did this, it was good, and we liked it, and they did this, it was bad, and we don't like it. And it's cyclical, because it's a criticism that happens just with every new generation. And it's like, you'll hear this, well, when I'm a parent, I'm not going to do it that way, I'm going to do it this way. Well, guess what? You're going to have children who are going to, in the generation that follows, they're going to grow up and they're going to criticize. And they're going to say, hey, my parents, they were too strict, or my parents, they were too inattentive, whatever the case may be, one way or the other. And the pushback is going to be that that equal and opposite reaction, or whatever, that response or whatever. And then and then what's going to happen is it's just going to go on and on. We have that response. We have also what some would say a counterculture, hipsters, and then folkies or whatever, and they kind of grew, and then they're within every generation there is a separation of 10-year groupings. So the generation is 20 years. So there's a 10-year grouping called cohorts. And those are your buddies. Those are the ones that you run around with and stuff like that. And cohorts are even closer within their group. Within any 10-year span, they're going to be closely related than, say, people who are within the same generation, but further in age than 10 years. So there'll be greater differences in mentalities or something like that. Just in the psychological, developmental psychology kind of thing or whatever. So so weird. And I have talked myself into about an hour, and so I'm going to pause the video. We have others people coming up, so I'm going to kind of walk around and see what's up. So yeah, so I wanted to kind of step away from as I'm spouting off, talking to myself about things randomly, thinking about things. So the cohort to the California folk kind of stuff or whatever, it gets answered in the kids are, they start doing like punk and rock and roll and everything like that and then the response to that would be kind of a tamed down blending of everything in the form of new wave and romanticism in the 80s and everything like that. So a lot of the culture things can be reflected in music and movies and things like that. Media always kind of reflects the culture, but it also predicts the culture, like changes will happen within the culture first, because idealism gets expressed in culture. And then those ideas are either good ideas or they're bad ideas. And if they're good ideas, then they'll take hold and they'll take root, and the generations to come will adopt in that, and we get what's known as progression, and but it's still that same back and forth, because whatever this generation is doing right, there's a generation down the line that's going to look back and think that wasn't such a hot decision, Politically, I think the divide is even greater than generation, because I think that it takes, if you're interested in being a catalyst for change on that level, policy making, then it takes a while, and you actually really you could start in your 20s locally and civically on some local seats and everything, but to is it 38 is the youngest age for presidency, and I don't think anyone's ever gonna look at someone who's 38 and say, yeah, you be president. But then again, we don't want someone who's we're experiencing that. We've had a few presidents that maybe sat for a little long in the tooth, good or bad. Maybe they're a little bit too old to be the president. One of those I can think of was Ronald Reagan on the Republican end, and I think on the Democratic end, I really do think in general he was a good president. But I think that he was probably declining and needed to not be president anymore. I mean, I think that had he gone for president instead of Hillary Clinton that first time, that he would have won the presidency, but he was not running for president because of his son's suicide, and he was choosing to be with his family. You know, was it a suicide? I know it was a death. I don't want to say it was a suicide, but yeah. But that was that decision. Hang on. See, I love this. I love this wonderful, beautiful place that we have to come walk and look and reflect on and walk around and experience everything. And, you know, it's a lot of activity going on tonight. And like I said, I mean, it's not all due to all this out here. It's just people coming out. But this is a great place to come and kick it, you know. And if I come across a couple and I feel like maybe they're walking and having quality couple time or whatever, I really do try to respect that energy and kind of go off and do my own thing, you know. I'm not, it's you know, I'm cool with that, you know. I'm really, really cool with that. This is an interesting little couple spot, you know, and you will find people just kind of sometimes tucked away, canoodling or whatever. You know, it's not exactly a lover's lane kind of situation, but it's a cool little fun spot, you know, where you maybe wrapping up a date night or something like that, or maybe it's like, gee, get away from the fucking kids for a while and come out and do something, you know, some of that kind of stuff, you know. So this structure, in my mind, I remember when it was the Barnwell Center, and there's still remnants of the plants that used to be in the Barnwell Center, but it's actually the aquarium now. It's an aquarium, so yeah. And there's our bridge, and I'm also feeling that now it's time for me to go home, because I'm feeling that little depletion that lets me know, hey, I need to eat a little something. Today, I've been doing really, really well with my diet. What I did was I baked some pre-breaded chicken nuggets in the oven, and I've been eating them one or two at a time, just kind of like spacing out my diet, because I'm, you know, I am intending to diet, lose a little weight that I picked up when I was on the boats in the Bahamas and everything, and just get back into a physical activity. I want to do as much cardio as I can walking around, but I also want to do resistance training. I want to care about my mind, my spirit, and my body. And I want to be a better version of myself so that I can, I don't know, take better care of the responsibility of the area that I'm supposed to take care of, so that the ripples that my actions take possibly can have less of an effect. If I want a happier world, then I have to interact with it in a happy way. I've got to be the example. Now, is that going to solve the world's problems? No. But I do think it will solve a lot of my own problems. And therefore, the selfless answer comes back around and serves to the benefit of the self in the first place. So it's all cyclical. Love and light, peace. Good night.